Hey everyone, welcome to Star Atlas DAOcast, the number one podcast for news, updates, education, and all things Star Atlas. My name is Tony. I go by DAOcaster here in the Star Atlas space, and today I've got a really cool episode here and a really cool interview, conversation with someone that I actually started listening to when I first got into Star Atlas, probably 3 months ago, and his name is Aaron. He is the founder of the Amarna DAC, or the Decentralized Autonomous Corporation, which we're going to get into. And he's agreed to come on the show, tell us a little bit about himself and the DAC he's formed, as well as some other cool topics as well. So Aaron, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm super excited both to be here and for your journey here on, what is it, the first Star Atlas podcast? Is that right?
I think I got the first slot.
I think so. But yeah, great to be here. And thank you for having me on.
Awesome. Okay, well, today the main goal is, one, to get to know Aaron a little bit. Two, to hear about this idea of DACs, because this is the first episode where we're really diving into DACs in terms of what they are, how they function in the game. I mean, we went over that, but really like who they are, and coming from someone who's already in a DAC, who created one, why are they going to be so important to the game? So it's really great having you on, like I said. And I guess before we get into DACs, people keep hearing us say DACs, Decentralized Autonomous Corporations. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Okay. Aaron, I'll give a quick intro. I told you I watched some of his stuff before I got into Star Atlas, or as I was getting into it. He is also a content creator in the Star Atlas space, and his channel is Atlas Theory. You can find him on Twitter and YouTube primarily. And but Aaron, take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. Well, I am a content creator. I have been before the Star Atlas journey here. I've had a Pokemon trading card game channel. I've had a vlogging / live stream channel. So this is a kind of a new journey for me. And I was around near poster 1, so near the beginning. So it's been fun, kind of like watching it all grow and evolve, and the community grow as well. So a little bit about me, have the YouTube channel Star or Atlas Theory, and I am a Star Atlas only content creator, and hope to go with that for many years to come.
Awesome. That is so cool to hear. And then for people who haven't heard of you and who are listening to this, or which is probably not many, seeing as this is a fairly new podcast, but for those of you who haven't heard of Star Atlas, or for Atlas Theory and Aaron's project, basically what we did with Star Atlas 101 was we went through the white paper and we walked through everything step by step and walked you through it. Something that Aaron did on Atlas Theory on YouTube was, since he was here since like May, he covered the drop of every single meta poster, which I'll get into in just a second. And every single drop, there's like 14 episodes of that where he describes him going through and purchasing it or not purchasing it, because there are 4 of them and they're like $1 million or whatever, and describing what it is and the story behind it. So if you want to know more about the meta poster drops that were dropped as NFTs for 14 weeks up until August, check out his YouTube channel. Now, moving on here, I do want to get into a couple of the meta posters because it has to do with what I want to chat about today. Okay. But before we dive in, since this episode is devoted primarily to DACs and specifically your DAC, which is Amarna, why don't you tell us in your own words what a DAC is in the context of Star Atlas?
Okay. So, as you said earlier, a DAC is a decentralized autonomous corporation. And for anybody who has played in games, mainly MMORPGs, you'll already be familiar with the concept of a guild, which are, groups of players that come together for a common goal. The unique thing about DACs in Star Atlas, and probably why they're not called guilds, is because there's going to be multiple kinds. So there are your DACs that are going to be focused for in-game. In-game mining, bounty hunting, pirating. But there's also like your social experience DACs, which Amarna does fall into. And these are going to be like creators of items in the metaverse in general, and providing services and entertainment, and curating a unique experience.
Do you mean like, so if somebody wanted to actually literally make Atlas tokens and make a living for, say, or part of a living, mining or refining, they would join maybe a certain DAC, the Miners Union, Interstellar, whatever,
right,
in the game. But if they want to like create skins for ships and release those as NFTs, is that more like in lines of your DAC?
Yeah. So exactly.
Or is it different? Is creation a little different? Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah, you're exactly right. It's that kind of DAC similar to ours. That if you have like a more of a business side of things, or you want to run like our art house, or a amphitheater to have all like the musicians on, that's the second kind of DAC that we're talking about. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then just to catch people up to, this idea of DACs is, you're going to hear a lot of people talk about it, and it's going to feel it's not going to feel too gate kept, but the reason why it's kind of so unknown what a DAC really is exactly what Aaron just said, is that it can be multiple things, and it's essentially a group of people working together for the same cause, right? So an agreed upon cause. So, for instance, there's a DAC in the game where they want to create these like safe zones for travelers in the medium tier, exploration tier, the safety tier. That's really cool. That's like the only thing they want to do. There's another one that wants to focus on solely mining. They want to own all the mining. And then there are ones like Amarna, which is Aaron's DAC, that are more creatively focused. So do you want to tell us a little bit about Amarna and how it got its name and how it started?
Yeah, sure. So going from the name, I had first been a little bit of history to kind of build up into it. I was first a part of Interstellar Alliance, the first DAC in Star Atlas. And then I also was working closely with Final Frontier and Ardo over there.
Right.
And as we grew, I was like, we're still like early days, and I really have like a passion to go see what entertainment could be in the metaverse. So I talked to both Christian Dragnall, who's the head of Interstellar Alliance, and then Ardo from Final Frontier. And I was like, because I was already kind of integrating into their DACs, and I was like, do you guys mind, if I go and do my own thing, but we keep our relationship? And they're like, yeah, go, like, do you? So cool. I started Amarna. For me, it's special because it's a name I've always wanted to use for a business I create someday. It actually comes from ancient Egypt, which I'm a big fan of. There was a pharaoh named Akhenaten, and he's depending on who you talk to in history, he's mostly hated but loved. He's hated because he like banished all he banished all the normal ancient Egyptian gods you would know, and created one god. He was the first monotheistic in recorded history.
Cool. Okay, that's awesome.
So he built this city, Amarna, for this one new god. And I thought that since this is like, new technology and a new mindset of us moving to what's next, being the metaverse, it'd be cool to kind of, I guess, pay homage to like some of my interests in form of the name Amarna. Like, let's go build a city.
That is awesome. That's so cool. Okay, so I want to take a step back really quickly and explain something that we just talked about, which was this idea of, well, a couple things, but one was the Interstellar Alliance. So can you explain? So the Interstellar Alliance is a DAC in its own category, basically, right. And then DACs can also be part of the Interstellar Alliance. Can you explain like the difference of Interstellar Alliance and how it was first, and then where it compares to the other DACs and yours?
Sure. Yeah. So Interstellar Alliance, being the first DAC, actually is I guess, more of a DAC of DACs. So there's already established communities out there in Solana that wanted to experience Star Atlas and participate. So what Christian Dragnol, the leader of Interstellar Alliance, did was basically make it like an umbrella, or like I said, a DAC of DACs, where you could come in and have your organization or group underneath Interstellar Alliance. So yeah, that's what makes Interstellar Alliance really unique, is being like the guild of guild, the DAC of DACs. Now there's other ones that still work alongside Interstellar Alliance, such as Final Frontier, Amarna, Atlasio family. And through this collaboration, there was an idea born called the UMO, which is the United Metaverse Organizations. And this would be kind of like your UN.
Okay. So United Nations, we have like a UMO, and United Metaverse Organizations, you said?
Yeah.
So does this UMO, does it spread out of Star Atlas, or is it primarily Star Atlas Metaverse?
It's primarily Star Atlas.
Okay, very cool. Okay, so the alliance that brings everyone together is more to be thought of as the UMO, and then Interstellar Alliance, even though it is the first, it can be thought of as a DAC, just like Atlasio and yours, that all are in quote-unquote alliance with each other.
Correct.
Okay. I wanted to kind of break that down a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so to focus on your DAC a little more, I just want to ask a couple more specific questions, because we want to learn more about what you've created or what you're creating and kind of where your DAC is going, in case anybody listening wants to join it. Because honestly, as a content creator myself, it actually sounds pretty cool to join. So my question is, we've already kind of identified that yours is different. Like, you're not a mining or exploration or data running guild. So what is kind of like the theory behind your guild? Like, what sets it apart? And as you begin to narrow focus here for your DAC and your guys' like mission or your direction, where is that leading you inside the Star Atlas metaverse?
So I believe it was the economics paper that talked about a kind of DAC called like social experience, or like the curators of that. And that's really our goal within Star Atlas. We have kind of like a tagline that's like the Hollywood of the metaverse right now. And we're kind of focused on building out teams of creators, and also our stories and lore, as that is what we'll be presenting to the community to start building the idea of what Amarna is going to be once we can enter the metaverse. So
okay, so with this goal of being, or your motto of Hollywood of the metaverse currently, I live fairly close to the metaverse. I live very close, don't we all? I live very close to Hollywood, and the place is pretty dirty. It has, back in its heyday, it was all the lights, all the movies. People moved from their home in Nebraska or Oklahoma, or wherever you are, to move to New York or Hollywood to try and make it. I get the sense that your DAC is not this way, but just by talking to you. So what does it mean then to be a creator kind of in the metaverse, and how is Amarna going to be a home for these creators?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, great question. The Hollywood is exactly like you're saying, and I guess there's two ways to this. Like, one, I want to like stamp that image of like creation and movies and production like in someone's head when they first hear about us, and it's kind of like the shortest way to explain what we are, in a sense. Also, I want to replace Hollywood. So it's kind of like that motivation a little bit behind it.
That's awesome.
Not me specifically either, of course. I want to see what entertainment's going to become. I think looking at the bigger picture here, there's almost like a restart of opportunity, or a collapse of the gatekeepers, in a sense. I think that there is IP being thought of and also created right now that's going to be the next Mickey Mouse. We can kind of see it already happening with like Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yeah. And the The first one that came out. Yeah. No, of course. These first ones are they're just essential.
Yeah, and you know they're creating such amazing communities, you know, and it's such a strong brand and such a strong movement as well, that I think that's where it's going to go. That's that hint. So I really want to explore this idea and see what like a Hollywood or a studio house would look like in a metaverse or a decentralized world.
Okay, so speaking of Mickey Mouse and things like that, you mentioned that, which I think is really cool. Now, of course, Walt Disney had this vision of creating something extraordinary, but I don't think he understood what Mickey Mouse was when he created it, right? How prolific it would be. So I'm not saying that you are trying to be this prolific icon or create that next thing for selfish reasons, but is there a kind of a goal to be on the forefront of that creation in the metaverse? Like, do you want to experiment with creating the Star Atlas version of Bored Apes? You know, like being first is going to be really cool, right? Does that go through your mind at all?
As far as like the story, our first story that we're going to launch with, I think that kind of plays around a little bit. Like, you know, it'd be cool if this, you know, became something larger. But I think the true motivation lies in just like the experience of the journey to see how this media evolves. And yes, we're going to give it our hardest, you know, and we're going to like find ways that fit into this new world of like Web3 and AR, VR, you know, all these things. But there's actual content creators out there already doing these things that are like the first to market. So I want to catch up. I want to participate, and I want to, fuel future creators into that world as well.
Okay, well, we didn't talk about this question beforehand, and I kind of set you up. I intentionally set you up to see how you would answer that. So if anybody's listening, Aaron's DAC, Amarna, is not here to try and be the quick fame Mickey Mouse of the metaverse. They're not looking to just copy paste Bored Apes and try and capitalize on the new traffic coming to Star Atlas. Amarna is a DAC for the creators, and I really like the direction that you guys are going. So I think that is really, really cool. Participate, be part of the movement. And hey, if being first means being known, then so be it. But true creators are usually in it for the process anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So I do want to bring up one thing that,
okay.
So I before interviewing you, I watched all of your content on YouTube, and one of them that really stuck out was actually one of your first episodes. And so with some background information before we talk about this. Okay, so your first episode was on pirates, and you mentioned that everyone in the Star Atlas metaverse will experience that fear of being hunted by pirates if you venture too far out into the third deep space tier. But you also mentioned something really interesting about what else may lie in the game, namely a real life, or rather in-game treasure hunt. So for listeners who maybe haven't heard of this, I want to read the descriptions embedded in the meta posters of Tier 1 in the marketplace. So for a little background, if you've listened to Star Atlas DAOcast, you know this, but in its fundraising efforts, Star Atlas released a series of 15 meta posters, or collectible NFTs, separated into 6 tiers. Now, if you have all of the meta posters of a tier, then you got certain rewards. So the first tier included 3 meta posters with some backstory included in their descriptions. And I want to read them real quick, and I want to chat about them because it's really, really interesting as to what this could allude to.
Sounds great.
So the first one is Discovery of Iris. And by the way, you guys can find these on play.staratlas.com, and you can read them yourselves and take a look at them. But the first one is called Discovery of Iris. The description is: the rogue planet, Iris, dense with invaluable materials, draws in and collides with 7 child planets in a remote region of space, creating what is henceforth referred to as the Cataclysm. When combined, these 8 elements create a form of free energy. This collision creates a massively valuable debris field. So that's the first bit of lore I think that was dropped to us, was this idea of the Cataclysm. Mm-hmm. Then the second meta poster is called the Heart of Star Atlas. Now this says, at the core of Star Atlas lies a treasure trove of priceless data. After an unsuspecting deep space explorer discovers the Cataclysm, he scans its riches, creating what will once be known as the first intergalactic data block. He sells this invaluable information to all three rival factions, igniting a lethal spark that forever changes the course of history. Then the third meta poster is called the Convergence War. It reads, all three factions, thinking they were the sole owners of the cataclysmic data drop, converge to settle the area. A devastating war breaks out across the galaxy after their inability to settle the disputed territory. So we have this story broken down for us. This unsuspecting deep space explorer who finds this treasure and sells the data or location to this data to all three factions. But in the trailer for Star Atlas that was dropped long after, 6 months after this, they essentially teased this planet made of diamond. And I'm only saying diamond because it looks similar to diamond and diamonds are valuable to us. It appears to be this super valuable material. So my question for you, Aaron, is one, do you think that these two stories, these pictures they've painted for us, are related? And two, do you think that there is a treasure to be hunted in this game?
Okay, so number one, I do believe that they are related. I believe hearing Michael Wagner during one of the Star Atlas town halls talk about how diamond, or the use of the word diamond, was to bring in more of a mass audience and help them understand like the basic concept of there's something very valuable out there. Now, when they do go to the planet in the trailer, like you were saying, like, and they wipe away the earth or the dirt, it does look like a giant diamond.
Now, I'm okay with it not being diamond. I think that you and I are on the same page where as long as we acknowledge that it's a very valuable material, because they have their own elements already created in some of these. Right. That's fine.
Yeah, and one of them in the faction elements is diamond, and I don't remember which faction has it, but it would seem odd that like one faction would have it and then we're all hunting for a diamond.
Right.
So I believe that they're going to go off the meta posters that whatever this ends up being is this super valuable data, material, something that can be scanned, and is useful to all the factions.
Okay, so do we think that lore is going to be, and I'm asking for everyone, really, not just myself here, but do you think, in your opinion, that lore is going to be ingrained in the game? Or do you think that was meant to be more of here is an example of the kinds of storylines that you can create in this game? Or like, just here's an example of some group of heroes that decided they want to go look for this thing. What are your kind of thoughts on that?
I think like the main concept of the Cataclysm is going to be huge in the game. As far as those three individual characters, I viewed them more as representations of the three factions hunting whatever this was. But I would love it. I would love it if they made a movie, or if this was like a characters you could eventually interact with or work with, in the game. That'd be awesome. But I guess that's how I first took it.
I did as well. And I think I mostly asked that question in case there was something that maybe I missed about the formation of Star Atlas lore. But for me, they had three characters, three different races, three different factions, or it seems, right, from what we know of factions. And they're all chasing this thing. So I think it was meant to be here is what your gameplay can look like searching with this thing, working together with friends and searching for this treasure. But hey, if they have some lore like this, some theatrical moments, I'm all for that. League of Legends came out with Arcane, so who knows at this point. Okay, well, Aaron, this was amazing to have you on the show. I really, really appreciate you coming on. You are the first person who represents a DAC that I've been able to talk to. And as a fellow content creator, it was an honor to have you on.
I I've enjoyed it. Thank you for having me on, and I'd love to talk Star Atlas anytime. So
Awesome. I will take you up on that, definitely, because people will be sick of hearing my voice only. So before I leave, is there anything that you want to tell the listeners, how they can get in contact with you, or how they can check out Amarna, or anything at all that you'd like to leave the listeners with?
Oh, yeah. So on Twitter, I am at Star Atlas Theory. As far as the DAC, it's at Amarna Group SA for Star Atlas. From there, you'll be able to find our Discord. So if you're interested at all in creating, whether it be, editing, 3D effects, on-screen personality, anything that is related to the industry of creation, we'd love to have you, and we'd love to, tell you more about what we have going on as well.
A question here that didn't come up earlier. Can you be part of more than one DAC? So if I want to do mining and creation, can I be members of both? Or as far as you know, is it pretty exclusive?
As far as I know, I believe it's going to be one that you're gonna sign up with. But of course, you're able to do whatever you want within the Star Atlas metaverse as far as like job and moving around. But yeah, that's it. That's an interesting question, because for the social experience DACs, you should be able to be part of an industry here, but then, in your free time or whenever, you could come join, some of this experience and, run an art gallery on the weekends or something. So that's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Oh my gosh, last question. This is my favorite question I wanted to ask, and I didn't even ask you.
Awesome.
Okay, last one. Here we go. If there was no real life financial impact from playing this game, which profession or activity would you be most excited to play, and why? And I'm not going to preface that with anything. I think you're already doing it, but I'm curious because a lot of people are getting in this game to make money, which is perfectly fine. Play the game to make money. I love that. It means more people. But for you, what would you be doing if there was zero tokenomics, zero currency in the game?
I think that I would retain the content creation side of things regardless. However, if I'm going to think of in-game industry and jobs, I think that I would probably do something with piracy. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not an aggressive player at all, but if there was nothing at stake, no money to be won or lost, I'd try to take down some fleets.
I agree with you. If it's if there's something affecting my normal life, I'll choose the Paragon option. But every time I play a game, I always I have to choose Sith. It's just I'll go straight for it first. It's the most fun. I agree. But if there are moral dilemmas, I'm usually on the Paragon side. So, okay. Aaron, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was really it was an honor to have you on, and for joining us as we talked about DACs and this channel's first exposure inside of a DAC. So I really appreciate you coming on.
Of course. No, thank you for having me. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. So
awesome. Well, remember, if who are listening, if you'd like to keep up with Amarna or consider joining Amarna, you can find them at Amarna Group SA on Twitter. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you could also follow Star Atlas Theory on Twitter as well, and check out Atlas Theory on YouTube, where you'll find Aaron doing his weekly videos about Star Atlas as well. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so for as little as $1 a month at anchor.fm/StarAtlasDAOcast/support. And you can find that link in the description as well. And this will give you early access to everything that we decide to drop. It could be a fundraising NFT release or free merch or cool insider perks like that. And if you'd like to sponsor or be featured on the show, email me at sponsor@StarAtlasDAOcast.com. And of course, if you can't support monetarily, then please consider leaving a review on your podcasting app so more people can learn to play this awesome game. Aaron, thank you for coming on. And everyone who's listening, thanks for listening, and never stop exploring.